objective today is to analyze it, to possibly find some solutions to it. We want to talk about the controversy surrounding it. You guys know the city of Dayton has got an issue now with this focus camera and the shot spotter technology. And a lot of people in the community are against it, okay? But it's a young lady that's supposed to come, Sheena, whose granddaughter was shot a couple months ago, 5-year-old. Y'all remember that? Yeah. And so she has a different take on that, right?
The daughter was shot, but a couple months before that.
Well, that's the other granddaughter.
Oh, that we
was shot, and we actually renamed the Juneteenth Fest after Tony Ormsby is her name. And so we just looking at, we want to have an honest conversation, right? About some of the things that we need to do, and I don't say it because everybody, the current mayor is advocating for some of that surveillance technology, right? When you talk to some of the older people in the community, like my mom, for example, she's all for that. I told her about shot stoppers. She said, well, put 10 of them around my house, right? So they sell dope around the house, right? They shoot around their house. And so we got to look at the fact that the older people in the community, they just want to be, they just want to feel safe, okay? So it's the black community is not a monolithic community, and a lot of times people come into the community and they think we all think the same, right? But I always tell people when I joined the new Black Panther Party, and I went home and told my mom I had the tam and the shirt, the scarf on, and she said, "Boy, I went crazy, right?" Because she didn't agree with that, right? That wasn't in her, that wasn't her way of solving problems in our community. But somebody else might be favorable to it. So anyway, we invited Brother Daryl Muhammad. Y'all give him a hand. And we're going to talk about some of the things I just talked about. He's also going to talk about the reasons why, and this is a big thing, the reasons why we hurt each other, all right? And so without further from me, Brother Daryl, you want to take it over? I think he's going to do a intro and then he's going to later on.
Question, do you have all the questions written down on separate? Can you write the points of discussion?
Yeah, I didn't write them down, man, but I've been between me and Steve.
Yeah, the ones you sent to me, can you, as we go move forward, can you just read them aloud? The ones you sent to them?
Yeah, I can do that. I do it. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see.
Well, we sit here quiet and pulling that up. Somebody stole my truck yesterday, right? 2 days ago. And then we went for cameras. I wouldn't have found it. I found it down Lord Gettysburg.
We have to be a point.
I wouldn't have found it.
But the questions are how via the discussions on black on black sperm, how do we as a community address it? You want to start there or he's up here?
But before we start, we want to start in prayer. And we always want to invoke the divine spirit and the presence of God, because that's the foundation of all of our success, through our divine connection. So I'm going to pray a Muslim prayer, but in essence, it's really a Christian prayer too, because one is the same as the other when you understand the means to be Christian or to be Muslim. But we acknowledge all faith traditions in this rule. So if we all bow our heads, in the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the beneficent and merciful, Lord of the worlds, Master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Be alone to be worshipped, thine aid do we seek. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom thy wrath has been walked down upon, nor of those who go astray after they are heard by divine teaching. Amen.
Yeah.
We like to start by saying, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. And I thank Allah for his divine intervention in our affairs. Ya Mary, in the person of Master Father Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, who is the teacher of our spiritual leader, teacher, and guide. And that is none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he left us with a divine, a living legend, a divine reminder, a divine warner, and who has been a champion for the cause of liberation for not only black people in America, but for poor and oppressed people all over the planet. And I speak of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their names that I stand before you as their student and striving to be a good example. And I greet you in the green words of peace, which is the green words of Christ, because Jesus didn't speak English. In the Bible it says, he said, peace be unto you, when he came among the people and when he left from the people. And the ancient language that he spoke was Arabic or Aramaic. And so he would say, Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. And with the topics of discussion that we're dealing with today, we definitely need peace, right?
That's right.
Yes, sir. So, with starting with that, what was this first question?
You just want to examine the black on black crime.
Examine black on black crime?
Yeah, we want to.
Now, if anyone's like, this is an interactive.
So how do we as a community address it? What are the root causes? And what are some potential solutions? And then you can just wing it, sir.
Yeah. No, anybody want to say, interject?
Otherwise,
Yes, go ahead.
I believe first you have to look at it through a lens of it not being black on black crime, but it being crime to black communities. Because crime happens to those that you are closest in proximity to. And when you say black on black crime, you're automatically putting a negative connotation on the black person. And so I think first we need to take a step back and look at it as crime in the black communities. And what could I do to undermine the systems that have been set in place to encourage us to invoke crime onto one another. Correct. And so that's where I would like to start.
I also want to echo my sister's point is that crime is a proximity situation, right? Trailer parks have the same exact demographic as we were talking about. Poverty is the main objective that again, it's not an equal opportunity. Employers an equal opportunity destroyed, right? So it don't matter if you ain't got no money. It's gonna be a situation where you're gonna be advantageous to involve yourself at crime. But the thing about it is, it's been focus on black people to make it seem like that's the focus point. But these same type of things are magnified in white communities as well. And the thing about it is we gotta figure out the root. And again, of course, the mental health piece is a very, very integral part of that. But also poverty to me is the main thing. The lack of resources and those type of situations will magnify any situation when it comes to any group of people. Any group of people. The Indian reservations have the same type of situations where they have lack of resources. But again, we're the suffer for our people and our community. So I'm here for the discussion.
Say it again, what you just said.
But I'm here for us to discuss how to fix it between our community compared to others.
Well, that's kind of where we wanted to go with the conversation, because we're not in denial about anybody else, right? And I think we need to start from right there. If you ever read W.E.B. Du Bois, he talks about that, how we don't have time and resources to focus on other people, right? Because crime is crime, but if you look at the stats, or if you just live in the neighborhood, you understand that a lot of the crime that's committed against black people is committed by other black people, right? So what we were trying to do is have a meeting for us, by us, to talk about, in spite of what somebody else is doing, Brian. One of the things that we want to avoid is we don't want to end up doing that, right? So we don't want to be so Americanized, right? That we just doing what the Americans do, and then we dismissing it as, well, they do that too. What? Good. That ain't this.
Here, hold on now. We gotta be in order. When you're ready to have your hand up, and we're gonna acknowledge that you just heard.
Yeah, I'm Pastor Stephen. It was me, Shaq, the Black Panther, and Amaha to put this thing together. But it's gonna take two parts. First part of it is we just will have an open discussion. People would throw out any ideas that they want to throw out, and we're just gonna listen to them. And the second part of the meeting is that we will come up with some kind of solution if we can come up with one, or two, or three solutions. So right now, I agree. Like you talked about crime in the black community. That's what I would prefer to say also. But black on black crime is not something that we should oppose. It was said like that because that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So
whether it's proximity,
everybody has a different perspective.
well, go ahead.
And they're entitled to that.
Right.
And so let's just throw stuff out right now, and in about 45 minutes we go have a note taker take some notes. Would you? And look, we want to thank everybody right now for just showing up. All right, thank you so much.
Steve, all right. I'm gonna sit down so I get your hair. Sorry.
Well, let me sit next to you. Be from this out of the way. I'm not care with you. Send me this. Good old Baba said.
Yeah, I got you in the frame with me, so you do give me the power. But I want to agree with what the two previous speakers spoke on, and I wanted to say that black on black crime is not an accident. It's in servitude of white domination.
That's true.
So what we have to begin to understand, that not to take the blame off of us, but it's by design. And so we have to begin to have some healing in our community, because we have to understand that what I did was out of ignorance. A lot of what we do is out of ignorance. And I'll just end it with this, is for us to really begin to make our communities a clean and decent place to live. We need to recapture our culture, and we need to get rid of Western culture, the way they date, the way they go to the bathroom, the way they breathe the air.
Amen.
We need to reject it. And it's not a racist claim, but I'm saying that it's not working even for them. They're complaining about their own system. So it just doesn't make, I know I said I end, but I agree. Well, look, in the Bible, it says, come out of her, my people. Come out of her, so that you don't be partakers of her sins and be racked with her plagues. We need to grow our own food to get rid of this disease that's in our community. We need to, what did Martin say? We need to woosah, and we need to just be ourselves.
That's kind of where I was going with. That's you know what I'm saying? So we don't have to do what everybody else does. When I said we don't have to be so American, right? That we do, 3 years ago, Obama made the same-sex marriage the law. He is Liberal, right? And so I had an issue that we don't have to be so like, and no offense to anybody, right? But we don't have to be so much like everybody else that, we do what they do. If you look at television, right? I mean, going all the way back to the days of James Cagney and them, right? All of them gangsters and them gangster images, right? We copied that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's where we got that from. That's what Stevens talked about, right? And so, but now we doing what they doing. We do whatever American society does. We as a black, we do the same thing. We think that's what we supposed to do. We thought that integrated, right, was the right thing to do because we wanted to be in, and you know what I'm saying? And what we seeing now is like in Dayton, Ohio, right? Integration actually hurt us, right? Actually hurt. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
This is a forum in the black community, right? We're taught that the first law of nature is self-preservation. And any dialogue, any topic is self-focused in terms of blackness. The Honorable Marcus Garvey said, think black, be black, buy black, and all else will take care of itself. Everything we talk about, I understand where you were coming from, sister, but that crime is prevalent in all communities. But because we're self-reliant, we want to focus on self-solutions. We're worried about black on black crime. We're not too much concerned about white on whites or whoever else. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that when the black man and black woman's condition in America gets solved, the whole world's condition will be solved. That's how powerful and that's how significant we are as a people. There's no other people like black people in America because our condition has been a peculiar position. No people have suffered like we had. They try to call all immigrants that we were immigrants. No, we were involuntary slaves. Prisoners of war, yeah. And so we came here involuntary and placed under servitude and wicked conditions that no other people has ever experienced. So with that, from that black base, our solutions must be and rooted in self-love and rooted in not acceptance or seeking acceptance from those outside of ourselves. Because a part of the problem is, especially in our political arena, that black leadership, black faces want to be acceptable to white interests. Right. And when you have a black, we fight and to get our individual black so-called leaders in these positions of so-called power. And I'll tell you why it's so-called, because really it ain't really power. Because Dr. Claude Anderson said politics, and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, politics without economics is symbol without substance. And we so focused politically as a people, it has its place, but we're approaching it in the improper way. Dr. Claude Anderson said we must focus collectively economically. So did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, economic base, because what they say, money talk and bullshit walk, right? So when you got money, you can name it, like Frank Lucas said in the movie. He said, when you own something, you can name it what you want to name. And Young Jesus said, men do what they want, boys do what they can. And ain't no secret, I'm a grown-ass man. And so when we collectively organize economic and then approach politics, then we have power. And then another problem is that we as a people are not concerned about accessing and gaining power. We want acceptance. We want symbol. This whole MLK holiday has been a lot of symbolism. It's a lot of singing and praising going on. It's a lot of marching going on. But those are all symbolic expressions that really hold no power. But we need, like Dr. Collins said, we need inspiration, but we also need information. Because inspiration and information, then you got the spirit to actually bring into reality what you're talking about, what you're praying about. It's a lot of prayer visuals going on. But praying without action is of no substance. It's dead. But anyway, so let us ask some more questions, but let us come from a base of self-reliance, like in Kujichagulia, determining for ourselves our future and how we want to live and how and what direction that we should go. My rep, Galea.
Check out real quick. Some of the things that we're talking about. We always go into that we're looking for another way to seem like over philosophize the simplest shit in the world. Excuse my language. Speak freeze. When we get down to it, we do not separate who we are here in this country. I hear we say we got to get away from doing it the American way. We are America. We built this country. We got a good point. We did start off trying to emulate, but if you look at the world, not just white culture and American culture, everybody's trying to be, in the words that them cats say down south, everybody want to be a nigga till it's time to be a nigga.
Come on.
See what I'm saying? Everybody wants to, they steal everything from us. Black culture is the number one influence in the old world. So what's wrong with being who we are? The thing that we have to start looking at is changing the narrative.
Who are we?
I'm a black man stuck in America, but not of my own choice. I was born here, but my parents' were stolen. So we made the best out of, you know what I'm saying? Like we always say, we made the best out of shit all the time we do.
Is that what we doing now?
That's what we're doing now because, see, we come in here so divided. That's what I'm talking about. When we come in here so divided, because we've been taught to be divided. What we have to do is stop looking like, your brother said something about, you know what I'm saying, the symbolism and all that. That all plays into one. The first universal law that is the universal law, which means is universal no matter what religion or what philosophy, whatever you believe in. The first universal law is called what? The law of oneness. So we come to learn how to come and understand that if we are going to do this, we got to see how we all interconnect. When I was in the streets, I could give money with people I did not like.
Come on.
But we're coming here and we're supposed to, we're talking about the healing of our community, and we stay fractured. We stay fractured. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to change the narrative from what we all get on, because we all say the same things, we just say it in a different way. And if you don't say it the way I think you're supposed to say it, I got a problem with you. Donald ain't doing it right, because he ain't say it the way I think it.
Come on.
We have to learn how to start checking egos at the door to make this work. And I'm going to pass with this. One of the things that used to work for us before we allowed, you know what I'm saying, integration and segregation and all of that stuff to come in here was one, we knew how to come together and keep our mouths quiet while we were in the planning stage. Then we introduced it to the world. Yeah. Why do you think that, you know, the day that we're celebrating today, Martin Luther King would not have been able to have that march on Washington if they did not know how to come together in the black church, be quiet, plan together, watch for the infiltrators. If we knew we had the infiltrators, we still use them. They just couldn't be part of the planet. When we were ready for the infiltrators to know what was going on, then we told the big mouths. So that's what we have to do, is change the narrative. Instead of talking about, you know, what's not working, let's start looking at how do we unify and make it work.
Bro.
Okay. All right. On my
Okay, there's a lot of valid reasons why we're here, but this is the same old scenario. Since I've been alive, I'm 63. And so the main thing is that we develop something new, because these youngsters ain't going for this old routine. It does not work. It's proven. It doesn't work. We can have this over the whole boy over there, him there, and we can say all these things, but there ain't no action behind it. There ain't none of these young men in here, because ain't no action. They believe in action. They believe in evidence. That's what we need, evidence. Next time we have men, bring the young man in here. Bring the young lady in here with you. Everybody in here, it's about 20, 30 others in here. Let's have 20, 30 young men sitting beside you, saying, I need you to learn this. Come on. That's how we do this. We can't do it if they're not here. Because they are the ones that's making the news. Be it good, be it bad. And I'm not saying bring somebody here back. I'm not saying bring somebody in here good. I said bring someone, a young man or young woman, to learn these new methods. They're old, but they gonna make them new. They are the ones that's gonna start this routine that we talking about. We can't do it. We so locked in with that old scenario, we saying the same things that we've been saying for 20, 30 years. We're saying the exact same things. Quote other people. That's not in it. Of course, when they started and they wrote those books, that stuff was new and it was working big. Now, we need to start that same scenario over. But this time, we ain't gonna be taking the grants that they give because we are the grant. We ain't gotta take no money from anybody because once that happens, that's when they step in. We'll do it like this, okay, it is. Let's do it like this. Yeah, he ain't gotta do it like that because them young guys, them young women know how to get that money now in ways that it's evidence. They got evidence about the things that they do, the things that they say. We're just doing the same thing we've been doing with no evidence by.
What's that, brother? Kelly,
Ain't no evidence. What's the shame? The evidence is prior going down or your faith dies. That's the evidence that I talk about. The evidence gonna be clear when they start coming in through that door. The next time we have the meeting, that everybody bring one. That's gonna solve some of it. Then they're gonna be in here learning the new nature instead of the old nature that they had. We have to do this. We have to evolve them. We just can't come in here and talk about it and keep talking about it. Exactly. She said we don't speak the same language as they do. We don't. This last point, this is tell a lie. I went to school to learn how to program computer. I'm good at it. But I got to ask my niece to fix my bones so I can work. I got to ask my niece if she ain't went to school like I did. That's the ingenuity that they had. Right.
So I just wanted to piggyback off for the black on black crime. I feel like one of the biggest things that are desensitizing us of the music. So you just listen to what they say in the music is Killer Nick, not nobody else. Spill from a nigga. So if we figure out, how to regulate that, I mean, that's what's programming most of the young people. It's, what I'm saying? Subconsciously, it makes you feel like you probably get away with it easier than anybody else. You don't see nobody attacking cops. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we should do nothing like that, but I'll say there's specifically in the lyrics things like, God nigga, get over on the big drug. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's one of the biggest programmers in our generation right now. And I feel like, honestly, like you guys said, it's an attack. It's geared towards, they pay the ones that say the most craziest stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's programming on purpose.
My please is, I'm not the whole other way. I would say it's important the language we use. At the end of the day, we're talking about the language we use. And so for us to say black on black crime, and at the end of the day, the reason I believe we should be fine in general is that we're not trying to focus on what's happening with white crime. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to say the crime that we're seeing is an issue of poverty, right? We're acknowledging, we have issues of poverty. And then if we stay on code with the language we use, we're able to say, hey, what are you talking about? Why are you saying what you're saying? Right? So we have to stay on code with the language. So the language we use is the most important thing that we're going to be having. And so then using young people as, having young people around allow them to get information from the elders. So we have the elders council, but we need to also have the young people showing up at the elders council for the information exchange, right? The younger people teaching the older people how to use the technologies is the word. The only thing they're doing is giving the older information. I don't really believe we're doing anything old, because at the end of the day, we're not acknowledging the war on drugs is a war on us.
we're not acknowledging the multitude of different actual awards when we're in foreign countries that took black men out, no offense, right, and said, hey, got him to go do this. And then that was just to me, that was a psyop to get us out and destabilizing us. Then they start giving us drugs, which infect our mind, right? And so there was really no exchange of ideas when we're talking about young and old over the last 4 years. So I don't really think it's been a loss. I think it's been a loss of information as opposed to us doing something. We have been doing it. There's been that loss of information. So, yeah.
Brother, right here.
What I think I hear being talked around is that violence is a symptom of a bigger issue, and we must take the conversation a lot deeper than just violence. This is a challenge of personal growth for every individual in our community. So I think where we have to start is what are our shared values in our community, and understanding that every single community in Dayton, Ohio that is full of black people are not going to necessarily agree on every shared value that is on that list, and we must allow room for each community to be its own community if that is the case. However, there is a bottom line, right? So I think that this is more about, there's always going to be temptations in America. There's always going to be something that pulls us into a darker side, that makes us feel like violence is okay, that makes us feel like we got to do what we got to do to survive. But what we have to be held accountable to, and that's each individual on their own, is what are we willing to change within ourselves? How are we growing within ourselves to impact each individual that we come in contact with? Because we're not going to be able to solve this problem for black people overall in the community. But if everybody in this room has an understanding and commitment to their own personal growth and spreading that personal growth and love to everyone they come in contact with, that is how we share this. That is how we shift the minds and the spirits of young people and the older people who are still stuck in that way. And what we're also talking about is a very, very, very long-term process. And it will not be just this one meeting. We have to set more meetings. We have to understand that this conversation is going to be repeated multiple times, and we're not going to be able to grab everybody. But we grab who we can, and we keep this as a process in our community, that this is what we are committed to, coming together, having conversation, and making sure that we're finding a solution before we walk out the door, even if that solution is, love a little better today. I don't know. But I think that's where we have to take the depth of this conversation to, is shared values and how are we changing as an individual in our communities in order to continue to impact the people we come in contact with.
That object that is me, real quick. That's the object. You just articulated the object of it's me, right? And so I asked Brother Daryl Muhammad facilitate this meeting so he could give us some direction on how that should go. So when he started off the meeting, he talked about the minister, what the minister said. And so the minister is one of the people that I look to, right? I'm 64, right? But I look to for direction, right? So we have to have somewhere to start at, right? And so that's what you just articulated is the reason why we having this meeting. So, and you said it better, because I shared that in the beginning. We're not gonna get everybody. Everybody is not gonna have the same, solution to. And this is what we're going through in Dayton right now in the politics, right? Everybody has a different view on things, right? And what the brother is saying, or is coming up anyway. And what the brother is saying is that we don't have to hate each other, right? Because you got them gym shoes and I ain't got them. And then another thing you have to look at on the brother's note right there, in America, there's a lot of things that are distracting our kids from coming to these meetings.
Right.
I got a whole bunch of kids, okay? Left, right? And they ain't none of them here.
Right.
Right? They not here. I've been talking this stuff all their life. Okay, they not here, right? Because and we got to take that into consideration. The Black Panther Party is a socialist party, right? and we study the effects of capitalism and know how those things affect us and our children, right? Everything is tied in to capitalism. Fred Hampton said that racism in America is an excuse for capitalism. And if you look deeper in it, that's what it is. Because it's all about money, like you said, ain't a damn thing funny, right? Our value system is based in what we have, right? So I'm a better guy if I got more than you, right? I can get that girl if I got more than you. She don't want me, she wants you because you got Billy Carter. Everything is tied into that. So I just want to get back to us basically saying what you were saying.
The shared value.
The shared
Finding our shared value.
Right. Okay, brother.
All right. I just want to tie a few points. Can you let Peter had you had his hand raised?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna get okay. But as we go and people talk at certain points, I'm gonna tie certain things together, and then we're gonna keep growing from there. It's a point that I want to make that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this: a well-organized lie is more effective than disorganized truth. So how much more important is organization? But he also said our unity is more important than prayer. Now we know prayer is an essential element in the spiritual walk of life, regardless of your religious orientation. It's extremely important. But he said he put organization and unity above that. Because there's a preacher that said this: black people don't need another blessing, black people need discipline. And if we can come together and organize, our focus should be one, organization. Not just in Dayton, but on code all throughout America. Or if we look at places like Dubai, and if we look at Ibrahim Touré over in Burkina Faso, right? Those were a few people that's organizing that country and bringing about success for an entire people, right? So if we look at Dubai, Dubai was a desert, and now everybody's trying to go to Dubai because it's beautiful, it's luxurious, it's fabulous, it's state-of-the-art everything. But it was started by a group of organized individuals with money. Dr. King said America is called, he said, the other America, meaning that there are two Americas. And we're taught that by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. There's regular America, but then you have what is called Black America. That's right. But Black America is disorganized. We have a spending power of over what? 13 trillion dollars
16
a year, but it's aggregated. It's not organized. When you have organized dollars and an agenda, then you could bring about heaven on earth. But we are constantly bombarded with disorganization. There is no wrong answers in here, but I will say, I like what you said, my elder brother, but we cannot have a spirit of disenfranchisement, because we saying the same thing. Yes, but repetition is the mother of knowledge. We gotta keep saying the same thing because it's not taken. And when we keep saying the same things repetitively to new generations, then we get new blood, like you said, and we can make the philosophical aspect of this teaching a tangible reality. And so, organization, but also we all in this room, even our white family, everybody has to take what we have in the Nation of Islam called self-improvement, the basics for community development. If we all could individually commit to self-improvement, that's how you make the entire community better. Like my brother said, holding one another accountable and getting on code. Okay, so we all have a spiritual system. Every spiritual system has the same basis of righteousness. So as my Adventist brother, as my Muslim brother, or as my Christian brother, or my Rastafari brother, the principles of spirituality, the base of them is the same. So if we can hold each other accountable in our spiritual principles, because we love personalities. We love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We love Dr. King. We love all of these great charismatic personalities, but these individuals privately surrender to universal principles that makes them magnetic. And when we individually surrender to universal principles of divine righteousness, we making our community, like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called us to do, make our communities a decent and safe place to live. Last point, the Million Man March was an extremely successful event, but it was not funded by any major corporation. It was not Coca-Cola, Marlboro cigarettes, and Nike. Nobody did that. That was the collective efforts of me and black people, with the help of our support of our sisters, that we pulled off one of the most powerful marches in history that was felt all over the world. And when the minister called for black men, for 1 million, 2 million showed up. The enemy got upset and scared. In fact, Clinton got out of town. He wasn't even around when the brothers did. But you know what? We did that. We organized and we did that. So it's going to take repetitive organization to bring about the change that we desire. And the reason why the Nation of Islam is so successful in reforming individuals is because the base of what we're taught gives you self-love. The reason why I can kill my other brother or my sister or bring about these negative conditions in my community is because I don't feel I value myself, for one. And then anybody or any nigga that looks like me is not valuable as well. We're taught in the Nation of Islam self-love, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the time, and knowledge of who our enemy and oppressors are. It is important and imperative to understand those things. But what those things do, when you have root knowledge of who you are, you as a black man and black woman, we're the original people of the planet. So if you know that you're the original man, and so when I look at my brother, the root word of brother is what? Other. Meaning my other self. My brother. You're my other self. So when I look at you, I'm looking at myself. And self is what? Minister Jabril Muhammad taught us that. Self means nature. So when you accept your own and be yourself, you're accepting your natural nature. What is the nature of the black man? Righteousness. And when we embrace divinity and divine righteousness, we return back to our original power. Not that we'll be perfect, but if we get in the path of perfection, the path of resurrection, coming from a Negro to a man to a God. That's where we're going. We be coming back, because when the white man came among us in Egypt or in Africa or anywhere on the planet, they saw gods and goddesses, and they taught the Greeks philosophy, they taught them mathematics, all of this high science. It comes from the black land. When you teach a black boy and a black girl that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization in math and medicine, they got a different attitude. They did the Obama effect. When Obama became president, they said the SATs before he became president was at a certain level. Well, after he became president, the SATs shot up for black students. Why was that? Because they seen themselves in positions of success and authority and power. And so in our acquisition of growth and development, we want to be in the pursuit of power, not symbols. Because when you're in the pursuit of power, Dr. Claude Anderson said the real definition of racism is a group of people who are in competition of the control of resources, wealth, and power. So when you can control resources, when you can control wealth, when you can control power, then you are in the real race of life. That's why I said black people can't even be racist on two folds, meaning that we're not in the pursuit of wealth, the control of wealth. We're not in the we have wealth, but we don't control it. Meaning that you can't pass down to generations to come to a brother that you're not related to, but I'm gonna give him an opportunity. Like our white counterparts can do that. They just pick up a phone and be like, oh, this your son? All right, this your daughter? Okay, I got a position for it. That's power. So when we're in the pursuit of wealth and the control of wealth, resources, and power, then we're in the pursuit of real true life. But other than all this other stuff, it's just a symbol without substance. Fake advancements towards success. Yeah, we got a black president, but what do we get as a people? Those are it becomes a window dressing in the storefront of democracy.
Amen, brother.
Because when you're not back in the day, we used to fight to have black people in positions of political power because they knew that when they got in that seat, they were going to really fight for the asses of their people first. But now they get in positions of power, and we sit back and dole out a few crumbs and gain a few crumbs for and shake a few hands. But in the interim, we bowing down behind closed doors. We buck dancing and bootlicking like a pasteurized Negro.
Can we?
Yes, sir.
Can we interject a couple?
Yeah, we are. Okay, I was just tired.
You say you ain't.
You know, but like I said, repetition.
Hold on, I'm the moderator, so hold on now. Bring it on the order.
We supposed to get along.
Yes, sir. We gonna get along.
It's all right. Yeah, we got to let.
Sis, I got you. My brother need wait. So now we have those things tied together. I want to move forward. So now, my brother, go ahead.
Thank y'all so much. I'm so studious that I actually took notes, and this right here is my magnum opus, because again, I'm a betweener, right? And people replicate champions. People replicate champions. When the NBA finals end and they win, the next year they're trying to find and replicate that same exact winning structure in order to build their team. I don't care if you had somebody that's 8 feet tall. If the NBA dictates that you need a small center, then that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna replicate that same exact championship mind state, right? So when we focus on black crime, we're taking the focus off the champions. We're not talking about the people who won. We're talking about the losers. We're focusing on the losers. We're not focusing on the champions. And what happens is it has been a social construct to demean the black community by making our focus be the losers. We have so many powerful, great people inside this room. We got Marvin Sackford in here, man. We got Sean Fields, one of the only black financial advisors in the Tri-State area. In this room. And y'all probably just heard that for the first time today. But y'all hear about Pookie and them shoot down the block.
Right.
Right? Close your eyes right now and think about the person who's a champion in your life. The reason why you positive today. Close your eyes and think about the person who is that positive pillar who made you great today. My grandmother. Dr. Brown in the room. Like, once we take the focus off what's actually important, we stop championing these people, it's the reason why our community is struggling. Because I promise you right now is this. Our people today are YNs. Now focus on the YNs, right? They're champion people who ain't found to be champions. Who are people out here catching hats, catching bodies. They got the money falling to their ear. How can you, as a father, tell your son, I can't buy you those shoes, and you watch somebody on YouTube right now with another about 100,000 pair of shoes next to their ear? We stop focusing on the champions. Martin Luther King is a champion. On the day of Martin Luther King Day, we're taking the focus off him to talk about the losers.
But should we ignore it?
Wait.
Should we ignore it?
Wait, King, I promise you I passed the ball. My favorite basketball player is Jason Kidd. He loves passing the ball. My thing is this. We got to start finding these different things beside these little talking points we all like to say, okay, well, whatever. But I'm saying this. We now need to highlight the champions, because that is what has been a social construct of taking our eyes and focus off of who's winning. And I promise you, if you give somebody to look up to, they will do it. We've done that as a people since millennia. And I give you a prime example, right? If we were to empower people, then now those people will be something to look up to. But we're so divided that everybody wants to be the king of their own jungle. Got it, right? Everybody can say this one song together. I love you, you love me, right? We all grew up looking up to Barney. How come we ain't creating the next Barney? How come we not focusing on the next person we're going to champion for people to look up to? And as long as we keep on just saying, oh no, we don't need to create no next leader, then a leader's going to present to whoever is on YouTube. And that's when you're always going to lose. Because I promise you, nobody put the money from the ear in this room, and why no kids are in this room. And that's why my whole premise was to empower the youth, empower everybody that's going to make money, so that way you will not be a loser to your damn child. If you lose to your child, you lost already. My child looked up to me. I'm a champion in my household. As long as we keep on focusing on everything besides that, bro, we always gonna lose. It's starting with everybody's household. It don't start with just talking some.
Yeah, you gotta be in status.
Right to a question.
Big to the child. It does not start from something to the child. It starts in our own household.
Next person.
And I'll pass the ball.
I'm not gonna take your time, right? So do all that. So a couple of things I want to point on was the reason when I first spoke, I said that we should change it from black on black crime to crime in the black community was not to take focus away from black people. It was not to take away that we need to focus on crime in the Latina community. We don't need to focus on crime in the white community.
Sure.
It was also to not take away accountability that we do hurt each other, because we definitely do. So that statement was not that. That statement was to highlight the internalized oppression that we have within ourselves. That's what that statement, and on why I refer to it as crime in the black community. I just wanted to show that we have to really look at it through a different lens. Well, if you choose to, because we don't have to do nothing but stay black and die. If you choose to look at it through a different lens, it could be helpful, because it's not making you look at it as, make them look at each other as losers. We're not looking at each other as losers. We're looking at each other to say, hey, we need better examples to look up to. Hey, we need mental health days where we can just come together and admit that we are having a hard time, because life is life for all of us. We need to create spaces where we can really be free, enjoy ourselves, communicate, instead of the only time I get to see other adults is at the club. You know, I don't want to have to be drunk and smelling like hookah to have a conversation with the grown. That's not, what I want to do. I feel like we need to focus on mental health, because we have a lot of people who are traumatized, from transgenerational trauma, traumatized by current trauma from poverty, violence. We need to focus on the mental health part. We need to focus on the lack of resources. We need to grow our own food. Like you said, we have community gardens. We need to teach people how to garden, and we need to figure out how to make it cool enough that the younger generation wants to be a part. So that's very much true. I'm not saying we have to be inauthentic in how we present ourselves, but we do need to reach a younger generation, because they have no one to look up to. A lot of older generations had Malcolm X, had Martin Luther. The closest thing we had to that was Nipsey Hussle, who was a Crip, and they killed him. Okay, that's the closest leader we had. Tupac dead. Okay, so we need to come together, find something that, you know, can bring us all together, engage the youth, and then put into action these ideas and conversations that we're having, so we're not just talking each other to death.
Right.
And I am now done. And I'm Raquel, by the way.
So we're gonna have Brother Ahmad and then myself with here, and then you, bro. And then Elder Wall. Go ahead, bro. Cool.
Yeah, you know, I get thanks for this dialogue and, you know, for everybody coming out, you know what I mean, on this day to start figuring out, like, what are some of the solutions, you know what I mean? And y'all said a lot, some kind of wrote down some stuff too, like copping off a peanut, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, like, you know, I think, like, part of the challenge is, like, you know, there's all these different orgs in the room right now, and there's people doing all these amazing things, you know what I mean? But we haven't seen ourselves as, like, an ecosystem, you know what I mean? That, like where is that, like, shared identity that we have amongst each other, you know what I mean? That, like, oh, they are good at this, and they have skills in this, you know what I mean? But, like how we start seeing ourselves at that broader things. We talk about this organization, you know what I mean? Like King said, that those that want peace gotta out-organize those that want war. You know what I mean? And so it's like how are we identifying those that are amongst us that are like, you know what? Like, if we paint the walls and we change the carpet, the system as it is right now is not going to get us where we're trying to go. You know what I mean? And so it's like what are we doing amongst ourselves, right? And to me, that's part of that leadership development that you was mentioning, Peanut, and that, like, how do we move from, like, 3 leaders to being a leaderful community? No, meaning that everybody got a gift and talent to contribute towards the future we're trying to create. Come on. I mean, like, when I was in Sierra Leone, they had this thing where everybody was a developer. You know what I mean? Not just waiting on, you know, someone over here and they're the developer, you know what I mean? But, like, how do we self-determine the community that we want? And that's the image we're looking for, right? Because we all these image, it's an image battle right now compared to the beginning of change, you know what I mean? And so it's like we haven't seen what we can be together. And that's where I think exploring our areas of agreement is so important. That, like, we ain't all want to agree on everything in this room. Right. But if there's one thing that we can agree upon, what is hindering us from moving forward on that while we still working out the 10,000 others? You know what I mean? Like we hinder our own progress, you know what I mean? By trying to get everything before we, you know, we move on anything. And yeah, like I felt the brother when he was talking about the music, you know what I mean? And like, so like that kind of behooves us, right? So, like, what is the music that we are creating? You know what I mean? Like we gotta shift the pattern in the style. You know what I mean? Like we need to make something else more popular. You know what I mean? By the fragrance of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like amongst each other. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate what you said about the organization and the discipline. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, at some point, we got to know that we have the power to change the patterns in our community. You know what I mean? Like part of how Babylon works, you know what I mean, is to make us think that this is all there is. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this is natural. You know what I mean? But it's actually a product, you know what I mean, of these underlying assumptions that, you know, one human being is better than another human being. And all of these things, you know what I mean? Instead of Ubuntu, that I am because you are. And my humanity is tied to your humanity. Because our future is shared. You know what I mean? Like we can leave here and think we got separate futures, but, you know, we got a future as Dayton together. We got a future as humanism together. You know what I mean? So, like, when are we gonna like put down all these things that divide us and start moving towards on the things that we have in common? And it's gonna take all of us. You know what I mean? And I think that's the key for me in this hour. It's like, oh, we're witnessing a lot right now. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, how am I going to show up in the circle? You know what I mean? Like, how can I bring my gifts, you know what I mean, for the benefit of others? You know what I mean? And that's what we each got to do. You know what I mean? And to figure out what those core competencies are, you know what I mean? That we could bring the younger generations, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to learn this? You know what I mean? Go see so-and-so. Oh, you resonate towards this? You know what I mean? Go see so-and-so. You know what I mean? That we can like engage that younger generation, because it has to be intergenerational. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you know, on the brand with like, you know, give that some praise. And, you know, sister right here.
So, okay, I love you all so much. Like, seriously, I'm so honored I have to stand up. Like, one body is like, I just want to say that it's not a whole lot because I don't have a point that I'm trying to make. But I thank my sister over here for everything that you said. So some of these things have already been said. I don't have to say it. Like, the language is so important. And my brother, he mentioned it too. And my brother shared identities. And so the last thing is, I want the elders, especially in the room, to understand, like, I have 6 children. My youngest is 19. Out of all 6 of those children, I've been doing this since 2014, been in these types of rooms and marching and trying to make change in the community. And out of all those 6 children, nobody did anything that I was teaching them until that last one, my 19-year-old. And she's organizing and she's doing the things to make change in the community. The older ones didn't do it. And so what we're saying, what the elders are saying, I've got some health issues, so my brain at work is slowly. Like the patterns that we're showing them, that it is catching. It might not catch for all of them, Jesus. But I'm telling y'all, like, what we do, what we take back to our families, what we take back to our communities, it does make a change. Even if you don't see it or witness it, you might not know nothing about it. It's working. And so, you know, we need to change the language. We do, because the way they talk ain't the way we talk. So they're not getting it. They don't understand it like we want them to understand it. But if we're teaching the young ones, they're taking it back to their communities, to their circles. So please just don't ever give up. But I love you all so much. And my brother over there, everything you had to say is so much passion in this room. And I just implore you, just do not stop. We can't stop until our last breath, because it is working. It might not be working fast enough, and you might not see it, but it works.
Does someone have an Outlander, Mitsubishi Outlander, or a Ford, like a silverish kind of car? There's someone that's trying to charge the, I guess the car about to die out, and they're trying to charge it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry about that.
Hold on, let's just share some things. All right, can we get something a little louder?
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to build on everyone talking about the youth, because I'm one of 9. All of my older sisters, they have children that's now entering into the young adulthood. And what I have noticed that they are passionate about the things that affect us as a community, but they don't know who to turn to, because they are lost on the fact that the things that I have taught them myself, that I learned from my dad, it's outdated. So me being their aunt, I have taken to a way of approaching them in a new way. So we talk about solutions and meeting them where they are. And I know this is so crazy, but being on the internet, that's where they are. They are not out here. They're not at the parks. They're not walking down the street. They're not grocery shopping. A lot of their things, they get their groceries delivered. So they're not in community with us. So we have to meet them where they are. To bring the youth in, we have to get online. I know that's one of those things like, oh, the internet is the crazy place, but that's where they are. So we have to be able to show up there for them, to bring them in. Like, we know where to find our great aunts. They're going to be at church on Sunday. So we don't have to look for them. But if we want to actually bring change and bring about change amongst the young people, we have to meet them where they are, and they are online. So that's my biggest one about, like, even the music is online. Everything is online now for us. So we have to kind of shift a little bit as far as, like, bringing in the younger people if we want to see change. Like, they want to be a part of the change, but the change is not online with them. Like, I'm holding on to all of this information, and if I'm not online sharing my information, nobody's going to get it. So that is all I wanted to say about bringing in the young people, because that's a Derek and Corey Paul.
Yeah, good. But I would also say on you, my sister, the minister told us, let's use our social media platform. Why is it instead of just entertainment? Just like you said, you pass on the information, right? Use that as a platform to give information. even if we want to say a few words, get the inspiration. But my brother, you and then you. Okay. And then you. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
So what's happening is this is not gonna be cool, right? So let's get that out of our head. Like, we're gonna have a few meetings and everybody's gonna be wonderful. I didn't catch on to stuff, y'all, until I was when I was of the world 28, and I just, you know, I'm a recovering person, y'all. I done used dope, all that. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself, but I've been in recovery for 36 years now. Okay. But the purpose, right? You have to get a purpose-driven life. See, man, the guy, we was talking earlier about the hospital. I think we should have one, right? I'm going to do everything I can do to help them achieve this. This person here either, Gem City Market. Right. I was in the field and I helped. Wasn't no damn building, y'all. But we believed in it and we went out and done the work. I was on when he talked about the $1 Million Man, and we gave our dollars and we did it. So I know I got some hard evidence that we've done stuff.
Right.
You have to learn from history. It teaches us. It speaks to us. Black people done stuff, y'all. They didn't wait on the government. The people got sick. Look, when you get sick of yourself, you will try to do something. Because let's just say now, if we don't do something about it, we gonna keep suffering. So each individual gonna have to see, what can I do? We talked about this hospital, right? And I said, me and him said, well, we might be dead when it happened, right? I said, well, at least they have it. We won't need it no more. So I gotta start thinking that I'm not doing this for me.
Come on.
Right. This ain't why I'm doing it.
Come on.
Right. If you keep thinking you're doing it for yourself, then you're doing a disservice to God.
Come on, man.
That you speak about all the time. One more point, John, I'm gonna be quiet, because you know, we all say we love God. However you worship and spiritually love, and I appreciate what the man is saying, but you know, we have never seen God, and look how we treat each other. So I have to find out, what am I good at? What can I bring to the table? I can't be on every committee and do everything, but is it one thing that I can do?
Come on, Alan.
To help out. Like my man said, we was talking about the profanity here. When we grew up, you couldn't talk like that on music or stuff. We need to understand that as people do not want us to succeed. You better understand that this is real. Just think that we can, that it's gonna be a fight. So if you see a good fight, get in it.
Come on. Come on.
That's the t-shirt right there.
Get in.
My elder brother, I met him born to the $1 Million Man March. Did y'all know that? Did you know that us standing up is an act of war? Just us getting up and becoming self-reliant, self-preserver is an act of war, because most of their power comes from our demise. The problems, just like with the black community in Chicago, a lot of times it's drugs and community problems that bring money in. So a lot of times these institutions don't want to solve the problem because that'll stop the money. You understand? So, who was next? My brother right here.
Real quick, I wrote down a couple things, because you're right. Check this out. I've noticed, this has just been my experience, my journey in the healing process. There's a couple things that I recognize. One is that we might have to flip things. We always, as elders or whatever, older people in the community, we're waiting on the younger generation, saying we like how do they come trust us instead of us looking at how do we gain their trust.
Come on.
How do we gain their trust? Like the young ladies were saying, and I've heard it different things. This is our future. One thing I don't want to see happen, and I mean no disrespect to my boomers, my generation got messed over. One, because we had the systematic with the crack coming in the community, that destroyed a lot of stuff. But we had boomers who were holding on to things, institutions, instead of teaching us and handing it over so long that even if today, right now, if you look, we still see some of these people 78, 90, 80, old, still trying to run our community instead of taking that and passing it on. Because all wars are not won by old people. We do the thinking that we got to get the youth to go out there and fight. Absolutely. They've been doing that for years. I'm talking about everything that we talk about what they do. They took from us and bastardized to now we don't even see that it's really us. It's our stuff that we need to take back and start to bring it back into our community and learn how to do it the right way. So two of the questions I asked was, is like, how do we gain the trust of the young people so that we can empower them so that they can take the agenda, the black agenda, the African-American agenda, the colored, whatever you call yourself, agenda, and move it on out of it, just concepts and talk into action. And the other thing is, what are some of the biggest social problems we have in our community that we need to tackle to start the community healing process? We've all identified it, and like brother said, we got a whole bunch of organizational leaders in here. And we all got different agendas on how we think it should be held. Like I said, when I said this, I didn't mean it like, oh, we don't need to say it over and over. I said, we're all saying the same thing, but we don't say it in each other's language, so now it's the disconnect.
Right.
How do we find the unity of oneness so that we can find out, okay, these are the problems that we see in our community that we need to start hitting off first. We all agree poverty is a big piece, but it's systematic. Poverty just didn't start with so many different pieces of poverty that need to be tackled and knock poverty down. Everything that has been done has been systematically, so maybe, just maybe, if we start hearing from the youth what are their problems, that we can start saying, okay, this is how we get the youth involved, because we've been dealing with this stuff since Martin had a dream. Come on. But right, it's been added one thing, and I'm gonna wrap up with this. We are the only culture who's never been able to heal from our pain. The epigenetics of the trauma, we keep on talking about what we've normalized as trauma, But you got to remember, this generation before the generation, they all normalized the same traumas, passed it down. We never got the chance to heal. We're good on trauma. And like one thing I hear all the time, this generation is the worst generation ever. Hell, I was part of the worst generation to my brothers and dad's generation.
Right.
I choose to embrace these young men and women out here because, look, we do not need to be scared to go back into the same community that we said we want to hear. Calm, man. I see that too much. These so-called leaders are leaders because I believe that they lead in their own right. We've gotten to the point where we took on some things where, when they had white flight, we took on black flight.
Come on.
When I grew up in the community, we seen the people that we wanted to be like. The doctors, the homeowners, the doctors were in the community, the teachers. I was a bad kid, but I still knew Miss Johnson lived a couple streets down from me, so I don't act funny in front of her house, because by the time I get home, my mom going to know. We have to get back to finding a way of making that trust in house again. And the question is, how do we get your guys, the younger generation, to tell us y'all problems and gain y'all trust that y'all can open up to us, so we don't look like we're just doing a whole lot of lip service and then disconnect you guys all over again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Say, my brother right here. Here. Then Doc. We were next.
Gratitude. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge how fast my heart is beating and ask before I sleep that we just take a moment to do at least one box breath. Is that okay? Because my heart is very much and beating with passion right now. I just want to take a moment. Is that okay? So box breath is just going to be in, count to 4, and then count to 4 as we exhale. Okay? Maybe 3 if that's okay. Okay? Okay. All right. Here we go. First one. In. Hold it for 4. Release for 4. Again, please. In. Only for 4. Release for 4. Last one. In. Only for 4. Release. Thank you. So I'm so grateful. I feel like it's my responsibility to share that these Abby Ray out and this page from this year. And I wanted to acknowledge walking in the music is programming. And also just call to effect, the idea of talking action. It calling to effect the idea of talking action, meaning, we're spending most of our time talking action with the power that is in this room, right? We can be the difference and see the change, and we are the ones, right? So programming, from a music standpoint, just, resonating, being that, like, I represent a collective of creative solidarity, which is called the Love Lasting Spirit. And we are really ones that believe that love is what locks us together, and use music to uplift that. And from an actionable standpoint, just to get to the point, one of the things that jumped out of my page is that there's 2 types of work: performative work and transformative work. And we are all often doing both at the same time, but we must be focusing on transformative work as our priority in terms of, meeting these needs. And what does transformative work look like? But with Love Lasting Spirit, that looks like we're stepping off of the stage into the community with your help. We want to step off of the stage and not focus so much on our performance, and know that over the years we've built up a community of mentorship, and we know individuals and partners in the community that will allow us to step into the classroom and to be there to be able to provide that support and show our younger generations that there are groups that exist that are not gangs, that provide support, that provide economic development and money, right? And so from a transformative standpoint, just being mindful of that language, as an engineer, I wanted to provide some decision support. So this is provide data, right? Help us as leaders in our spaces, right? Resonating with your point that a well-organized lie is more effective than organized truth. Because the unorganized truth. Disorganized truth, because disorganized truth provides analysis paralysis, syntax errors, right? Of spasms of a computer. Okay. So when we're talking about organization, that's with good information, good data. So I'm going to provide that if I could briefly. One is a conversation that we've been having in collaboration with Co-opting and partners like that from a storytelling standpoint, trying to define ownership in our community from a motivation standpoint. The way that we can define ownership is, one, illustrating it as a ship and talking about owner our ship. Right. Okay, we had to own our ship to get it. That's what ownership is. Further, by definition, equation-wise, ownership is equal to responsibility plus reward. That is what ownership is, just like the house. When you own a house, you have responsibilities and you get a reward for that. So in a community where we are owning ourselves first, some of us that women I don't own the house. We have to own ourselves first. We have to own our voice first. We have to own our gifts and talents first, and know what our responsibility is and what the reward for that. What's the return on the investment? Okay? Specifically because what we're up against is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, based on the documentary, it's studying DeepMind, which is the company that Google bought for Gemini. Artificial intelligence was built off of something called reinforcement science. Reinforcement science is simply the fact that you can use integers and ones and zeros to tell a computer that something is a good job. Right? As humans, it takes way more than just a ones and zeros to say motivation to do anything. So with reinforcement science means that when you teach something what is right and what is wrong, and that there's a reward for the right thing, it will move heaven and earth to be able to do that. And that's why AI is winning, because it's so fast at everything that we're doing. So what we need to do is understand how we can implement in our communities positive reinforcement, right? In ways that will allow people to be motivated to do these things that we're asking ourselves to do actionably. What does rewarding responsibility look like? That's a question for us to answer. Not now, but you can write it down. We could please talk about that more. Okay? People replicate champions. Okay? We're talking about empowerment. I go by Rafiki in the community, and the stakes are so high. You know, there's red alert outside, right? Our nation is in red alert. Okay? I go by Rafiki. I chose that because Rafiki means friend in Swahili, and as an artist, I use friendship as my compass and my paintbrush. I propose to everyone in this room that has superpowers. Let us assemble. We can be called the Empower Rangers. The Robots Experiment. We are offering mentorship and healing arts. I am currently in the process of becoming a registered vendor for the city of Dayton and the city of Miamisburg and every other city that has paperwork and will allow me to apply and become a registered provider for us, the Robots Experiment, to be able to provide the services that we've been offering for so long in the healing arts community with our partners, to better provide that to our community. Last thing I wanted to bring is the Mycelium Network, which we talk about. And the Mycelium Network is the root system of root systems. I'm a scholar of agriculture, which is the study of the soil. And the Mycelium Network is the root system of the root systems. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, I was talking to my brother Amaha today, and I had to look it up, sir. I was telling him that the Mycelium Network, one of the main structural matter of it is sugars. It is literally the glue. Sweetness is the glue that holds root systems together on the earth. Okay. But I looked it up because I wanted to know it's not just sugars, it's like carbohydrates, which are types of sugars, right? It's glucose, actually, particulate. It is called glucan. The specific sweet substance in the soil that is the Mycelium is called glucan. I'm a word nerd. That's glue and can, right? That is the glue, right? And it's because we can, okay? And it's love that locks us together. It's sweetness. It is the performative work that is transformative, right? Because we gotta perform, we gotta be fly. I remember the first time I walked up to this dude right here, Leroy. It was at Riverscape. I promise this story matters. It was at Riverscape. Something was happening. I think Kanye West was actually there, and it was just a bad day. I was new in the city, and I'm from Nigeria. We get it out the mud, you know what I'm saying? I remember that day my flip flop had torn, so I was one shoot at Riverscape. I was walking, dragging my slipper, and I was on a mission to talk to him as a poet. And I said, I was like, "Yo, man, I heard about you, and I want to book you," basically, because someone was asking me to book artists. Long story short, and we had a conversation, and I've never shared this with him before. I know that my presentation influenced his impression in some capacity from a professional standpoint, in terms of wanting to do business with individual and trust, right? And so when I'm talking about transformative work, and there is the level of performativeness, and that's where I'm just leading, because, you know, we're talking about our frequencies, and frequencies like 432 hertz, which is the frequency that allows plants to grow. That's what plants prefer, 432 hertz. And also, I am a niche proponent of strongly promoting lo-fi, which is a frequency that encourages peace. Lo-fi beats, lo-fi music, and the whole world of that. Actionable deal is all I wanted to offer today, and that is the end of my notes. And I'm grateful so much for y'all listening and your feedback.
I said to also you now places like that. And then
One thing I can say, I'm old stature, and what I'm excited about is these conversations have really elevated over the years. I've been at this work
for over 50 years in Dayton. For over 50 years. I am the elder of the elder. Now, what I like is I'm seeing new faces, I see old faces. When Peanut talked about the lady that motivated him, his grandma, she also motivated me because she was a community activist. So we don't have to solve all the problems. What this brother gave you here is data. Now, what we all need to add to the data now is the wisdom. You guys know the difference between the data and the wisdom? The data is information. There's no limit of information. AI can give you anything you want. The question becomes, what do you do with the information you get it? Right. That's wisdom. Right. Yeah. So my message here is everybody just get involved. Keep doing what you're doing. Reach out. Next time the brother calls for a group like this, bring somebody along. Yeah. Us elders need to volunteer with the younger groups. The younger groups need to invite us into their groups for the wisdom. Yeah. But we elders should also bring the young people in for the image. Come on. Martin Luther King spoke here in Dayton at UD in 1964. And I was listening to this as I drove in. The title was, "We've come a long way, but we have a long way to go." So brothers, keep the faith. Don't speak in the negative. Stay positive. You're affecting lives you don't even know. When Peanut told me who he was, I remember he was a little kid running all over my office. Hell, yeah. How would I know today he would be a leader? I think I played a role there. Absolutely. So we're all influencers. Come on. We're not waiting. I was at the Million Man March, most impressive experience of my life. However, we gotta keep reaching out. This brother has the data. Everybody in now needs to apply the wisdom. Our biggest problem is apathy. And that's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a people thing. People get comfortable and they just, it's easy to do nothing. I know people today, what was the purpose of the day? What were we supposed to do today? What did when they established the holiday, what was it supposed to be? A day to volunteer. I'm calling around trying to see who's volunteering. Oh, I'm going to dinner, or I'm going here, I'm going out with my girlfriend. So we need to take this day, and next year we all need to be volunteering, reaching out to other groups so we can share our wisdom and our data. This is reachable, guys. We're a lot further than we were, but we've got a long way to go.
Quick question. One more thing. This is an important event. But there's also what we have to feel, to reach the youth. It's called Markley. When we have a gospel celebration, when we have whatever, a concert, it's marketed, right? Now, this is one of the most important, impactful meetings that we could ever have in Dayton, Ohio. But I would say, those of you who are tied to churches and have a good relationship to these pastors, these forums should be held in churches, in the sanctuary, and should be marketed to the community. Because the headiness, the quality of wisdom and knowledge coming out of this room has to be respected and given to the community on a better and bigger platform. Because when people say, oh, they're having a empowerment community dialogue for Dr. King at Omega Baptist Church, that's going to bring, because of the place, it's going to bring a lot more people. And if you have a true pastor that's for the community, then it will show in their willingness to be a part of something like this. But the next brother is this brother, and then after him, I think it was my brother here, and then you, Pastor Steve Buck. I never seen him. Oh, really? I didn't see it. Okay, but he's next, but okay. Well, we'll get you, brother. I'll apologize. But go ahead, bro.
For sure, thank you. I love a lot of what's been said recently, and I just want to add, as we talk about, reaching the youth and finding a way to get to them. I just want to be a reminder to say, do not approach the youth as if they are broken.
Come on, man.
As if it's something wrong with them. They are just moving through the same issues and intentional systemic oppression that we have been, on top of the things that we also haven't healed from yet, or their parents haven't healed from yet. So a lot of what's been said as well is like, we made so many improvements. So let's not dwell in feeling like things are the worst that they've ever been, or we are in a circumstance that is, completely lost its path. But what we are moving through is witnessing the destruction and the discomfort of the change actually happening.
Come on, man.
Because everything that we see here on earth that is beautiful had to go through a chaotic change in order for it to be what it is. So don't approach the youth as if they're broken. They're still just trying to find their way like we have. And the only way through that is understanding that we have a lot to learn from them too. And this is not a one-way exchange of we're trying to fix them. We are both trying to collaborate and learn from each other for their future ideas and what we've learned from our past, so that we can continue to create this shared future that we have together, while they also have a buy-in and investment to say that it's a part of their voice too. And to build off of what was just said, Rafiki and Dr. Brown, there's a lot of artists in this room, and music came up as well. There's a lot of artists in this room. I come from the belief that art moves the culture. Culture moves the politics. If you want these kids to start investing in artistry that is deeper than the superficial entertainment, take them to some local art around here. We can't control what's happening on a mass scale with distribution of music and art and all of that culture that's being destroyed and regurgitated back to us, but we can control a lot of the art that's being created here. And I promise you, every single artist that's in this room right now and the artists that they are connected to are coming with the voice that Rafiki came with, of not only am I putting this art out here to be something purposeful, but I'm also creating solutions and systems that I'm also using for myself and investing in, which is why it's getting poured through the art. So the culture as a whole, every single aspect of it has to be approached, confronted, and honestly adjusted in a lot of different ways. And that's going to take a lot of just deconstruction and self-reflection from our community. But I just wanted to offer up some of those things as well.
Thank you, brother. To your point, the great Asian leader, Chinese leader, Mao Zedong, he used art, music, for a cultural revolution. And he transformed this whole nation of people just based off of art. And they poured a lot of money behind the art to reform the society. The enemy knows that. There were private meetings in California where they took conscious rap and pure money behind the gangster rap to transform the black community.
Sure did.
It was conscious rap that inspired me as a young 14-year-old, 15-year-old with Public Enemy.
Yes.
World Righteous Teachers. And I was like, man, and then they had the minister in the background, and they had in the videos, they used to have the FOI doing the drill. I was like, what them talking about? I didn't have to say that. But they put, it was cool, it was fun, but it was also education.
Right.
So those of us who are artists, man, keep putting knowledge and wisdom into your art, because the young people are inspired on the wave of what's that mega, that positive hertz, 300 and what?
432.
432, right? So music is a frequency. Yeah. So when you put in that wisdom in there, they'll vibrate on a higher frequency. So that's it. My next brother was Red.
Okay, yeah. Look, real quick. When we were putting this together, one of the things that we had talked about, and a lot of you have alluded to right now, is some kind of follow-up that's will occur after this. Everybody's perspective is important here, and we're going to listen to Brother Muhammad. No offense.
Yes.
Okay. And so if we could kind of start to to go toward that.
We got a tentative date.
Yeah.
It's February.
We're gonna meet for the next. We're gonna meet once a month.
Okay.
For the next quarter. That's just to set a calendar for right now.
Are we gonna be in a February? What time?
So February, every reason said,
I'm just saying. Are you serious? I'm serious. Okay, we good.
Yeah.
Especially if we do like that, brother Sam. Everyone bring one. But for the next quarter, we like to set a calendar right now. When you're not ready to wrap it up.
Well, you gotta listen to the young lady told y'all about the technology, so you might have to go on Zoom to get young people. So it's you can do it and
She can do it. Well, that's what I'm saying.
we can do it right now. Hold on, we can do it right now. We got a tentative date. Every February we do, we hang the Pan-African flag over the city office. So this year we want to do that service, and here we want to come aside to do this, maybe at the market. I like in person.
Well, what you
I like it.
it's just saying.
I think that Zoom is too impersonal.
Yeah,
I think we need churches.
No, we just in person. We know what I'm saying. As far as advertising.
Yeah, but advertising, I got that piece, because I had somebody else said something to me about, they didn't hear about it. So, yeah.
You have to learn from the pandemic. When you had the pandemic, we still had to communicate with each other. Technology was big. She just told y'all that young people, that's where they're at. Listen.
You ain't made no decision.
You're missing a whole group of people when you don't have structure. There's a lot of people who will not come to these things if there's no structure. I'm a structured person, and I'm back here like, where's this? Right. And I'm a baby boomer, okay? And I'm back here like,
Get some better structure. Hold up.
I said we got a tentative date. Y'all went all right.
Yeah, we not. This is not planning to have a conversation.
We got a tentative. We got a tentative date. We got a tentative date.
Everybody silent.
I just want everybody to get it in their mind that we're going to do something else, okay? So we come together as a group and decide what it'll look like, okay? And so it's February. The first tentative, the first day of Black History Month is February 1st. That's on a Sunday, okay? So I'm trying to get the city to hang the flag on that Monday, which is second. So we get together, whoever wants to be involved, and we plan the next dialogue, and then we'll decide on a topic, okay? So if you don't want it to be Black on Black Friday next time, we come together as a group and make a decision on what we're going to talk about, okay? So.
I don't think we're talking about this shit.
We about to wrap it up, y'all. I got.
Yeah, but we need to hear my brother, sir.
Real, please. My brother, we can help you with that. Or is this a way that you can do hybrid? You do Zoom in person?
Who is we?
It's young. Yeah. And I wanted to go with Greg and said, man, what he was talking about just kind of passing down to us, man. Like, our younger generation, we gotta realize, like, we uncles now that do the barbecues. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't look for people to do the barbecue. It's us. We the one that really do the one. So what me and these two other brothers did was we realized, okay, a lot of businesses, Black-owned businesses, were going, under because of certain things. I would say profits and just paperwork. I don't know if y'all even knew this, but we put together a Network and Chill, which was a business incubator to get that together for the Black businesses. Now, everybody was allowed to come, but what happened was we had about 30 businesses. I don't even think, did you know that, Mr. Brother Muhammad? We had a business incubator in Dayton. We focused on showing people, okay, this is how you get your business all the way together. Pharaoh did the websites, the logos. Peanut talk to him about grants, I get the financing. So we look, it was fire. It was fire. But we needed y'all's help too. At the same time, I know Maha was there, Greg was there, but we needed more resources from the older people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have liked to have seen you pull us aside, like, look, man, y'all can use this space whenever y'all want to. You know what I'm saying? Something, or introduce us to, Brother Muhammad. We needed more resources, and what happened was it died down. Yeah. It died down. Now, there is no networking channel, right? That's all.
And we could be there in Portland. We went to Columbus for about a year. I had one of the best years ever. Best.
But we're not giving up. It was just that, we were paying for office spaces and people just didn't appreciate it. People were kind of blocking doors for us. And I feel like we could have done better as, as the older people just pouring down to us because, like my brother here, I'm glad to hear that you got, music on that frequency, man. I want to pour into that. We're going to take more initiatives to do more things. But we need, the older generation to guide us and say, hey, look, man, let me open this door for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to finances, you know what I'm saying? I'm, like my bro said, I'm the only one that's licensed, has experience in education when it comes to helping communities, especially our community. Like, we the ones that need it the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, kick me out if I'm lying. You go on Google and you Google the average net worth of each race, we come in the last place. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You say it was $16 trillion a year that we have to spend it. The problem there, the thing that's not, linking together is understanding finances and understanding where to put that money at. So y'all don't know this, but it's something that I know, but y'all don't know this, but you can't really get a financial advisor unless you got $1 million to play with. So there's a lack of a financial advisor in the community. You know what I'm saying? And I try to help. I try to help as much as I can.
That's the problem. Yeah, if they help our people, they ain't going no.
And then another thing, just like you had Sick and Serve or what was it called?
Network and Chill. So we just we made it kind of cool, but it was really getting down to business.
Right. So when I say that, black people, we already celebrate nothing. I said it's already the party or nothing. I see these big flyer. We have to really to make moments and events like this a big deal. That's why I said we're disrespecting the information and the knowledge in this room by having it in such. I mean, this is nice. Don't get me wrong. But we want to have more space for one, and we want to have like I'm saying, back in the civil rights time, the black church was the base for information. It was the base of the civil rights movement. This right here is what we're having is the really spot of a movement to change the realities in our community. So like I said, if we're tied to these churches, let's use these sanctuaries. They got the sanctuary, whatever facility they have space, because we're getting respect to our liberation. This is a liberation movement. This is an economic movement. This is a freedom movement. So if we respect what we're doing, let's just try to have it in more spacious places for one, and let's promote it. We have to promote it. We got to create digital flyers. We have to get on social media look, February 1st, we're having another community empowerment forum on whatever topic it is. That's good. And we need to constantly push it. We have to campaign, just like when we're campaigning for the presidency in political office. We have to campaign for our freedom. Constantly pushing in front of our, because black people, we forget. So if you're constantly putting it in our face, we'll be reminded. And then those of us who have children, young people who connected to young people, next time bring them so that they can, if not involved, but at least listen. So my brother over here, I'm gonna put his hand with San Fran. How are you, please?
Yeah. So I think that we're not identifying the system. We keep talking around it. It's important for us to acknowledge that we're trying to defeat Jim Crow, right? At the end of the day, that's what this is geared towards is, respectfully, Jim Crow is our Holocaust, right? Their Holocaust was a time frame, our Jim Crow is every day. It's been 250 years, 40 years. What time at the end of the day, we need the systems to defeat Jim Crow. We need to have the stay on code to say we're doing these things, financially educating, we're working against crime in the black community to defeat the system of Jim Crow. Then one thing I would leave everyone with, because I'm a mathematician and stuff, right? So I say love is a measure of reflection. Hate is a measure of difference. And hate is a measure of difference. Indifference is the absence of both, right? And so I think it's important for us to really look at each other and say, what do I see in you, right? We need to look at youth and say, I see you right, you see me, right? I was, at one point, they used to always, other stuff. At the end of the day, the older people always fought against those trying to push new ideas. And so we need to acknowledge that. So that's, I think.
He thinks the bumper.
The only thing I want to offer is that one of the things that I am really passionate about, 10 plus years ago, our city had priority boards. And I think that there's some pros and cons to priority boards, and specifically the way Uncle facilitated them. But when we think about like our current commission or the current term, we've got to identify like ask, wants, things that we want to investigate in. One of the things that I personally am interested in is what does a modern priority board look like for the city of Dayton, so that we can have some structure to work from. Speaking from community, Dayton is a large city, even though our population has decreased. Somewhere it's really hard for us to attack a community issue because we talk about systems. But if we can understand what Westwood is happening differently than Chapel Hills, differently than so-and-so committee in the United States, I am, I guess, asking for support or thoughts as we navigate politics in the next few years. Feel free and confident to ask about priority boards. That's all that I had on.
My grandma.
Thank you. Everybody now. I got my brother here, and then close out in prayer. We're gonna move up with have things at those event.
Okay, I'm very say something real for him about making a commission with the youth, and he said, "Listen, that's vitally important to have a success with the youth. I feel blessed to be able to do this 15 years." 10 years before I was Shackleford, nobody listened to me when I was young. Come on. My real father left when I was in my mother's womb. My stepfather used to beat my mother. He was a shot. She shot him, killed in the hilltop, right? So the blackface to me presented danger. She moved us out of hilltop in the Trotwood in 1972. It was 80% white, and they was painting the N-word on my mother's car, right? Grown men, not little kids, right? I went down Fifth Street with $70 and told the guy I wanted to buy a gun. He said, come back in an hour. I came back in the hour because I made a vow to protect me, my grandmother, and my mother, right? He wasn't supposed to sell me a gun. He saw, you could see pain in people's faces.
Come on, man.
He was supposed to say, young man, what's going on with you? Just like the doctor do. I see you in pain, how long has it been? He sold me that gun, which led to 20 years of crime and 20 years of incarceration with the pain bound up. So nobody listened. Because back then, all the older people around the community collectively raised children, right? But they were authoritative figures. Not no listening people. They were people who told you where you was wrong and what to do and how to straighten it out. And I started getting the epiphany or revelation that if it takes a village to raise a child, then equally the village can tear one down. Because I got 3 men, white and black men, and they all appear to be a threat to me, right? So now that I'm in juvenile detention and I'm in other places working with, I know Greg to listen, right? I got one guy in there, he 15. He said, Mr. E, I sell dope. I can't work a job. My sister died. I get straight A's. We from Detroit. And they tell me we don't sell dope and everybody passes judgment on me. If I could work a job, I could see, listen. Now you got to start before you know where to help me. Now you know where it's paying at, right? So I'm going to close with, we making progress. On a positive note. But it's going to take boots on the bike.
We're going to close out. Okay, there we go. Thank everybody for coming. You want to go?
Yeah, I sort of kind of reiterate what's been said before about like in Ethiopia we got say kas bakas, which means slowly, the egg begins to walk. You know what I mean? So like this is a beginning of a dialogue. And I know there's other dialogue similar happening, right? And so that tells us there's like a zeitgeist that like we're moving into a different space. And I appreciate what Donald said about the co-creation. You know what I mean? Like this isn't something where we just do for, but we're doing it with. You know what I mean? So if anybody wants to plan, if anybody anywhere that someone wants to contribute, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because we're going to do this together, right?
Yeah. Let's support space also about that.
I heard you. I got you. I'm gonna stop talking. But I want to acknowledge church hurt. You're gonna lose a whole people if you want to keep pushing for us to go to church to have these meetings because you have to acknowledge church hurt, black hurt, and the black community. And I'm good.
That's it. And last thing, Bruce Desiree Stick. I think we need to focus on the fact that everybody doesn't do the same thing. Okay. And I'm 64, so the old people count too. You know, the young people count, right? But the young people they can learn something. All we know is the history. That's why you know Bon Bo is the history. We get the history from the older people. Right? So don't discount the older people. I grew up in a political family.
Old men for counsel, young men for war.
That's right. It's a rainbow. You young whippersnappers will know how to fight the war. If you're waiting for the old guys like me. I said, just remember that down that we all coming together.
Because that's the biggest problem for black on black crime. It's not 60-year-old men out here killing each other. So you cannot remove them and say like we're just going to do that turn because most of them are not going to go through them. So that is why I said that they're online. So if you create the presence for them, then they'll be there because they want to go viral. They want the moments. So if they see us doing something, they get so interested.
Yeah, that's useful. That's
Now, so church are just for bigger space. Correct? Bigger space? Because I have the space. Okay. Yeah, I can offer a bigger space.
I consider this right here to be church, okay?
So we need a bigger space. You know, bigger space.
Does anybody have the announcement about your group or anything before we go?
We got to close out.
And we spending what you got on the way in.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. All right. Good time, everybody.
Oh Lord, we beseech your mercy and ask your help. For we believe in you and trust in you for all that we need. We are helpers in your cause with your apostle, Christ. Amen.
Amen.